Welcome to the White Bear Unitarian Universalist Church. I'm Dick Ottman. I've been a longtime greeter here and I'm a longtime member. And I'm going to show you the difference between what happened when we bought this building and property, the 4 acres, and the original building for $197,500 in 1990, how we've expanded this building. This is the new building, new part of the building. This was put in 2007. And so if you've been coming in the front door here, you're going to wonder, well, isn't this always been the front door? No, it wasn't. The front door was over here. And we would come in the building right here, and there were doors here which had long been removed, and we've totally rebuilt this entrance. But I'm standing in part of the original church that we bought from the Methodists in 1990. And this was the sanctuary. We came through these 2 doors right here into the sanctuary. And the back of the church was there, that back wall. And then there were pews. When we came in, there were pews all facing this way. There were wooden pews. And the altar was down there. And the only thing you could use this room for was a sanctuary, for a meeting on Sunday morning. You couldn't use it for a social hall because you had wooden pews anchored to the floor and you had all this stuff in the way. So we lived with it for a few years, and then we decided, geez, let's get chairs. So we sold those pews to the Methodists. They wanted them back. That was fine. And we bought chairs. And then with the chairs, we arranged them the way we wanted to, and we had a semicircle facing the windows, which we thought was a nicer view. So it was nicer to sit in this sanctuary when we had that particular view. In addition, we could move the chairs off to the side and use it for dances, for dinners, for all sorts of things, because our social hall was small. So that's why we did that with the chairs. And we bought comfortable chairs. So that got us into the habit of, once you have comfortable chairs, you can't go back. When we built the new one, we definitely, in the sanctuary, we had to put in comfortable things to sit in. These doors were put in later, but there was basically an altar back here, and an organ, and all this stuff was here, and all that got tore out when we made this into a social hall. Okay. We're still in the original building. This is the kitchen of the original building, and we decided that we would do some renovations of the kitchen when we expanded the building in 1994, added the religious education wing. And my wife, Judy Ottman, washed the dishes every Sunday after church, and she had to bend into these deep sinks. And every day, Sunday, she came home and complained about her back being sore. I heard about this. And she said, we really need a dishwasher in here. So when they renovated this kitchen, Judy Ottman insisted we get an industrial strength dishwasher that you're looking at right here. It was Judy who raised the money for it, Judy who insisted on it, and Judy who got it here, if you want to know. And that dishwasher was put in over 30 years ago, and it's still working today. Steve Bolton helped pick it out along with the contractor in the 1994 job, and they did a good job of picking it out. This was the office, the old office, and we've renovated this as part of our renovations in 1994 and in 2007. And this is this was part of the social hall, and we made this into a meeting room, and then we put another meeting room next door, and we've renovated the bathrooms as part of these capital projects. And this is the rest of the meeting room here. This is another meeting room that was part of our social hall religious education area when we bought the original building in 1990. And then this was the rest of the original building over here, which is now the church nursery. So, and this was all the religious education space we had when we moved into this building in 1990. But after 2 years, we had 100 kids signed up for religious education, and the religious education director, Janet Hansen, said, "You got to give me more space." And so we ended up with a project, which I'm going to show you in a minute. In 1994, we ended up building the religious education wing onto the church. And that got done, and now I'm stepping into that part of the project. And that got done in 1994. And let me show you one more thing that's important. I was on the committee that discussed how we were going to lay this out. And we Unitarians like to talk, and as people know, this is a storage room, but there are some steps here that are going up to the roof. And we, the contractor and the engineer proposing, he said, why don't we put the heating, ventilating, and air conditioning? We finally got air conditioning for part of the church. Why don't we put that on the roof? And people were going, oh, what are we doing? We got that up on the roof. Who's going to go up there and change the filters and work on it and all this stuff? And finally, one person on the committee got sick of listening to Unitarians talk. And she said, Lisa Palmer Miller is who it was. And she said, I'll go up and do it. That ended the discussion. And we ended up with the air conditioning units and the heaters up on the roof. And we have more space in here, and we ended up building that ladder. And we use this as a storeroom. Now this is one of the classrooms that we ended up building. And what the contractor let us do in 1994, we picked a contractor by interviewing people, 3 different contractors. And they gave us a price plus all of the things that they would do. And the contractor we selected was a family-owned, run contractor. And he allowed us to do the tiling on the floor in this room, in each of the rooms ourselves, and do the sheetrocking and some of the painting on the walls here to save money, because we were running a lot of money in this project. And I've never had a contractor all my years of doing engineering work who ever allowed you to do anything like that. But John Weaver helped us pick that contractor, and boy, he was good. He ended up building the other part of the building as well. So there's this one classroom after another here that's available. And these are now meeting rooms for people. But you can hold these, this was all put in, here, I'll leave that light on. This was all put in when we were doing this expansion. As soon as we go through these doors, we're now in the part of the building that was built in 2007. So this is the atrium, and it opens up the building beautifully. The idea of putting this in glass, I couldn't have thought of a better idea. It brings the outside in. The engineer who thought of this is a genius. It lets in natural light. You see animals walking by here. All of these things. It's just a wonderful way to accentuate things that we can do with this building. It really made it a really nice place to meet, having this glass right here. And then we use this space for artwork, and we put in offices. So the minister's offices and the director of religious education, they got an office in here as well. We had more office space. And then we change this artwork every 6 weeks or so. And again, we put in track lighting to make so we could show off the artwork. And that was, we have one of the few churches in the Twin Cities where you can have artwork in a nice space like this. If you're an artist, you don't have many places to go to show your work. and we were able to do that here. And this area again is all new. We allowed the light and natural light to come in up here, up above. And again, that brings the outside in. And this is really designed like a Unitarian church. If you've been into a Unitarian church, you will see, if you go into enough of them, you'll see something like this, where we bring the outside in. When you go in here, if you go in enough Unitarian churches like I have, you'll immediately see this is a lot like a Unitarian church. It's designed as. Again, the windows bringing the outside in on both sides. You're looking at something, again, that's showing the natural wood up here. And the pews are padded, so you can use this space for concerts and other things. The other thing we did is we put in a balcony. Now the whole church is designed on one level, except for the balcony. And what we did is add an elevator for the handicap accessibility of it. And we did that to save on space. We were a little short of money in our fundraising to build this, and so we had to constrain our desires a little bit and make it a little smaller. And that's how that ended up this way. And the trees that we had to cut down, some of them the boards are up there on that wall up there. That was done as well. Thank you for listening to me.